My name is Matthias. First talk is going to be about ReSharper for Visual Studio Code. And this is a very special evening for me for plenty of reasons. First of all, Sasha has said it already. Like I'm feeling like this right now because plenty of the team who does this product that I'm talking about is actually present, which is bad for me, but good for you because you can just have a chat with them in between, and hopefully you already had the chance. Second, I'm joined by Stefan, so we meet regularly, even in our spare time. So we're good friends. So this is, for us, it's like I don't know, a really great opportunity, definitely. So yeah, but let's dive into ReSharper for Visual Studio Code. This talk today will be about what we've done so far with the product because it's rather new. Yeah, I mean, new in that terms means we started mid last year with the first prototypes. Then we also want to find out about how you're using your tools currently, and particularly also hopefully ReSharper for Visual Studio Code. So this is really not just a lecture, but if you have thoughts, something you would like to see in the product, then definitely tell us. It doesn't have to be during the presentation, although, like I said, you can interrupt me, but even after, and I will also share a link for a survey at the very end. And also, we're going to share a little bit of our roadmap, but you can also kind of take an influence on that. Yeah. All right. Just to see some hands here. What coding environments are you using? So let's start with Writer, maybe. Oh yeah, here a lot of people I can see. Visual Studio. Okay. Visual Studio Code. Okay. And I guess this is okay. Let me formulate the question a little bit differently. Who's using different pieces based on the task that they are doing? So, like combination of Writer and VS Code, for instance. Okay, also quite a number. Yeah. So that's actually the same for me because I also use it as a companion app. Sometimes just for note taking, sometimes also to fix minor and small bugs because usually I'm running in a larger, like proper IDE, which in my case Writer, of course. But yeah, good, definitely good to know about that. Now I want to give you a bit of history about ReSharper, where it originates from, where it has been. This one in particular is from around year 2005. As you know, ReSharper has been, historically has been an extension to Visual Studio, but we always designed it in such a way that it's kind of modular, that it can have a different view. And that was one of those efforts. So just thinking about making ReSharper a full-blown IDE, but it was later discontinued, this one. Those are old images. This one is also pretty interesting because it's a new image, which you can see from the fact that there are some, DPI issues, like here. But yeah, the code base still works, actually. And just to continue a bit here, where are we right now? Yeah. So ReSharper for Visual Studio has been around for 20 years. Writer followed in 2017, roughly. And ReSharper, as most of you probably know, is core to Writer. Yeah. So Writer wouldn't be there if it wasn't for ReSharper. All the language analysis, inspections, quick fixes, all the .NET, refactoring features and all that comes from ReSharper. But then we have also seen Kodana. Who knows Kodana? Okay. Yeah, I think for this side, I should just say, keep your hands down because I know. Or who has not their hands up? Okay, so Kodana, just for those that don't know, is also just another great tool that we produce for CI/CD purpose. And the big benefit here is that ReSharper, just as in Writer and Fleet, is integrated into Kodana. So no re-implementation of certain features. It just works the same way. And Kodana, in this case, reports all the existing issues that you may have overlooked, helps you to, track that over time, so you have a bit of historical data. Overall, I think this image here, or this slide, just shows how much experience we got with integrating products into each other or into something new. Yeah. And just recently, last year, ReSharper had its 20th birthday. So happy birthday, ReSharper. Yeah. I think that's worth some applause. And we thought, okay, what could be a good gift to the community? So we looked at some of our old issues, like from 2015, build something for VS Code. Yeah, of course, that was not exactly the reason. But no, the reason is we want you to feel home, whatever environment you choose. Yeah. And by the way, I'm a child sometimes, so this is home. Yeah. Mac OS users know, Linux probably too. You have also the tilt, right, for home directory. So yeah, it should feel like home. That's definitely the goal. And yeah, how do we do that? Make these two shake hands. Yeah. And just to give you, yeah, when did we start? I think I mentioned that already mid of last year. And it's currently in public preview, so you can try this out right now, or maybe after our two sessions today. That's better, or from tomorrow. And I'm gonna show you some features. Before I do the live coding part, because I always think live coding is much better because you see how people actually feel home in those environments. Yeah. But I still want to give you a broad overview so that I don't miss anything, and then you can kind of comprehend first of all what we are talking about. So those are three slides in total. Definitely what you're gonna get is a solution explorer to do all the, make most basic operations like seeing dependencies, navigating in a project, adding files, etc. Then also navigation. Every time I talk about navigation, I remember my old professor who said 80% of your dev job will be navigating and reading code. Yeah, I think he was not wrong. With lots of options there, like old friends, like go to declaration and other symbols and decompile sources, all that stuff. Completion is probably also something people really like about ReSharper. We will look into some options there as well. Then code analysis, and I think that is one of the cores here. Yeah, Visual Studio Code on its own feels very lightweight, but the fact that you can have code analysis from a grown-up IDE, so to say, with and even with Roslyn analyzers, is just great. Yeah, you're just opening a small thing to make a quick fix. And basically what you're seeing is still something like, hey, you forgot to check for null, for instance. Yeah, even if you're making a small fix that you think will go through, we got you covered there. Refactorings, first of all, we are starting with one of the very elemental or core features, yeah, rename, which, well, just for now, of course, there should more should follow. But this has also automatic conflict or conflict detection included. I'm a really big fan of editing as well, with extend shrink selection and rearranging code. And then just recently, that's also kind of a backstory here about unit testing. As I just heard today, it was actually not meant to be released when it was released, but then people just discovered it on their own and shared some feedback, which was really great to see, actually. And formatting and typing assist, yeah, I will get to those as well. So definitely a lot of things are happening right now. So unit testing and typing assist is one of the very recent additions. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to see what's coming next. So with that, let's actually do the demo time. Let me just see where I am. Yeah, here. And I think we should Can I erase this? No. Man, I need a chair or something. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Let me first start by, hold on, by closing the solution just so that you see what is actually happening. So in Visual Studio Code, we just open folders at first, right? So, and in this case, because the solution has already been loaded in the past, it actually knows which solution file I want to pick. But if you have several, let's say, let's close this solution again, then you can just execute this open solution. Also exists as a single action, and then you can choose from anything that's included in that folder. Yeah. So as you see, SLNX is of course also supported, just like solution filter files, and also plain old, little bit legacy code, not very good looking SLN files. Yeah. So we will go with the SLNX here. And then let's start with, let's keep staying with the Solution Explorer. So like I said, here we have dependencies for packages, for projects, etc. Well, this doesn't have a project dependency, but I guess you can imagine how this has more nodes. Definitely should feel a little, familiar, because as I don't remember exactly, but we have roughly the same UI as in Writer, if I'm not mistaken, like icons and UI. Then what else? What else can you do? Adding files, of course, and this is based on the file templates that you already know from ReSharper Writer. So any of those can be picked here. And then, of course, core operations like, where is it? Here. Build, rebuild, and clean. Yeah, which you can invoke either on a project node or the solution, the parent solution. All right. Then maybe let's continue with really the thing that I particularly like most about ReSharper, Writer, and everything, and that is the code inspections. Yeah. Just to give this one example with this file here, if I go through every time you hit Alt Enter. Oh, hold on. I think what I want to first look at with you is a README file, just to get you started. So particularly for folks who right now are using Writer or ReSharper, definitely go into the keyboard shortcut section and reassign a couple of those shortcuts. That's what I did, because naturally VS Code doesn't work with the Alt Enter key to bring up those quick fixes, and there are a couple more, but that's definitely worth checking out to at least with the shortcuts feel at home again. Okay, but now let's go back to the quick fixes. A couple of them. So for instance, unused usings, like here, I can fix that. Let's go through. Or here, async modifier is not actually necessary in this case. This is a iteration over a collection that we then modify inside the iteration, which probably isn't very good. If you don't know, then some of those quick fixes, let's just take another one. Order by, 2 calls to order by, isn't exactly a great idea, because hold on. I actually forgot the quick fix to show you just that window, because multiple order bys, of course, overwrite each other. So yeah, let's also fix that. But the next one is actually a good example. Sometimes you might wonder, why is ReSharper actually suggesting that, to use invariant culture? Well, then you can scroll a little bit further and just have this other entry for the inspection, and then look out for why is ReSharper suggesting this. And that's also really cool, because again, it works in Visual Studio with ReSharper and Writer, and now here in Visual Studio Code. Always just replacing that product name over there. And then you get redirected to a website that basically explains you why is this not a good idea to have like this, to have just 2 string. Yeah. Maybe I should actually do it, but it might mess a little bit with my presentation. Let's see. Oh no, it actually works. Yeah, okay. So then let's do this invariant culture. And also, like, if you paste some code and you have missing references, then this will also be fixed. Yeah. Okay. But let's go back. I just reverted all the changes that I just made. And something that is very dear to my heart is the option to apply fixes in scope. So again, we go to this remove unused directives, and you can see there's a difference. First, it doesn't have the periods, and then another time it has those periods. So meaning we have some more options here, and fix and scope always allows you to apply quick fixes in bulk. So either in a method, in a file, in a project, or the whole solution. Yeah, depending on what exact quick fix we have. So then it becomes a no-brainer to just in one place say, okay, I want to fix it all over my solution. Yeah. So let's just do this. Some more quick fixes where I want to underline how those things help you make better code. Yeah. This is just one example right here. So we have some code, and well, it looks fine. Yeah. But as you can see here, this is common code. So yeah, this shortcut I forgot. But there's some common code, which is this line right here, as well as this line. So it should be extracted from the if else branches. Yeah. So we can just do that. Or very great thing if you always want to stay up to date with C# latest, which now becomes a yearly task. Yeah. Like when, for instance, like when primary constructors have been introduced, just find one place where primary constructors are not yet used. Go there and say you want to convert to primary constructor, and then you can do this for the whole solution again. Yeah. So let's do this right here. And yeah, maybe a couple more examples was to convert to raw raw strings and raw string interpolations like this. I think this always makes it very much more readable. And yeah, I felt very like telling an actual truth recently also when I wrote a blog post about why I might eternally need ReSharper, and it's for things like this, because I wouldn't be able to. I mean, this is how I write stuff, and then ReSharper just helps me to convert this into pattern matching. Yeah, I think over time I will probably learn. Yeah, but I think you get what I mean. There are there are constantly features being added on the C# side, and sometimes it's also hard to, not exactly to understand them, but to apply them in the code base at the time they can be applied. And having something like ReSharper to watch out for that and help you learn those features is a really great benefit. Okay. Yeah, about the solution explorer, I think there's also the possibility that you can, if we navigate somewhere, that you can reveal the current file in the solution explorer. But I think meanwhile, this is actually, yeah, it does this automatically, but yeah, we can also deactivate that. One thing I forgot about the solution explorer there. Okay, I think that should be it for quick fixes. One of my all-time favorites, really, postfix templates. They've been very early in ReSharper for Visual Studio Code. Also, this is really a mouthful, that whole product name. But yeah, what are postfix templates? I'm actually curious. How many of you, except the JetBrains folks, I'm sorry, but how many of you have heard about postfix templates before? Okay, yeah, 2. Okay, so I will show you. Let's start with something that has existed for a longer time. What I want to do here is to filter numbers to see if they are even and then return them. Yeah. So I think you have a kind of an idea how to do this, writing a for each, checking for being even and then yield. I would try to do this with postfix templates. So let's start with number, because that's kind of the context. And then I continue typing for each. And now it first looks like this is an instance method, but what it actually does is, in some cases, even quite heavy transformations of your source code, in this case, to convert it into a for each statement. Yeah. So you don't start with writing for each, but you set the context first with the variable you want to for each over. Yeah. So now I can continue, and luckily I also have AI completion here. But let's just assume you don't have AI, and next time I need to disable that. Then I write a Boolean expression, and at the very end, I just hit, dot if. Let's do this again. Dot if, and then number.yield. And at the very end, what we always do is convert this to link. Yeah, okay. Put a comment there. Yeah, good idea. Another example, I always like to make this challenge and let people think, how many keystrokes do you need to initialize a string builder if you don't have AI? Yeah. Okay. So maybe think about it for a moment, and I will start now. So SB, select string builder, dot V. Done. Yeah. So this is not limited to just string builder. It works with any type that you want to use it on. Some nice little things there. Caret is always placed in between the parentheses when you can pass additional arguments, like constructor arguments in this case. If not, just at the very end of the line. Yeah, this is like for all of those features, we're trying to think very pragmatically about what are the possible next steps you want to take. And one of the very recent additions, man, and I love this idea. Let's say we have a run async, and this needs to be, the request needs to be forwarded to a service. Yeah, but we don't have the service yet. Yeah, there's no service here. See, there are no service. I mean, there's the type. Yeah, the type name. So let's start with that. We have the type name, and then I hit dot inject, and I want you to pay close attention to up here. Yeah, inject. It was added as how's it called, primary constructor argument, and now I can just continue typing. So again, next time I really need to disable AI there. Dot request. Yeah. And now something needs to go in front of that, but yeah, I can actually do that. So await and then return. So basically what we've written is we started here, but with the type name, then continue to write process request, and then we build the statement up from here to there, from await to return. So very great stuff. As far as I know, our Sasha Schwedorf kind of invented that, and meanwhile, it's also implemented in other IDEs, like including also Eclipse, if I'm not mistaken. Really, really great idea. It's like if Yoda would be programming, probably. Yeah. Okay. Postfix templates. Maybe a little bit more about completion, actually. So, and that is also, you have to forgive me with some of those things. I'm also not completely fluent with the keyboards yet. So even for me, it takes a bit of time. But we have quick docs, for instance, for types. Yeah. Or like, since I said completion, let's actually do this cancellation token, something like this. Works a little bit like, okay, I will get to navigation, but you type the initial letters and you get the types that match the initial letter matching, CT or CTR, for instance, for cancellation token registration. That should be. And another one with right line, for instance, you also have this parameter info, and you can cycle through. It's a little bit occupied there from the. Yeah, that's better. You can cycle through and see what are the parameters that I can pass to my method, particularly if it has also overloads. Yeah. What else about? Hold on, give me a second. I just want to scroll here a little. Yeah, that's better. Okay, completion. Completion. Yeah, that one. And the last one, which I also find really, really great. Arcs dot. What should I write? Length or count? Let's write count. No, it's length. Yeah. So this is also like automatic completion. You wrote something wrong, but we made it right for you. Yeah. I think the same also exists, but it's a bit of a if you mistype return, for instance, and then it just writes the actual return word there. So yeah. Sorry. I think yes. Yeah. If you if it you mean if it's replaced then as well. Yeah. Yeah. But to be honest, there have been cases where it wasn't exactly working, and sometimes it was. Like that's why I don't want to show it actually, because every time I want to show it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing it maybe slightly different than usually when it gets replaced. But yeah, okay, I think you understand. You understand the point here. Okay, length. So that was about completion. I totally missed to talk about navigation, so let's do this now. Navigation. Hold on. Let's put this here. Okay. Okay, where should I start in navigation.cs? Yeah, see, I'm actually navigating the wrong way, so I should actually type Control T to navigate to the file, or to the symbol in this case. What can we do? We can, for instance, navigate to a decoration, like here, controller base. I can, lots of people, sometimes I'm also using the mouse, definitely. But lots of people use this command plus click to actually go to the declaration. But we can also use this context menu right here to go to declaration. That also works. We can search for references. So for instance, with this control method, let's do this. Go to references, and you get a list of references, in this case with a peak view, I believe. Right? Yeah. What else? Yeah, peak view. Peak view is probably also a good candidate to show decompilation. So for instance, for the action delegate, let's try this. I haven't before, but let's see. So peek into declaration, and then you see this is actually from our integrated decompiler. Yeah, somewhat of a proof here because you can also see the location of the file. So there, somewhere there, yeah, it says JetBrains. So yeah, no fake here. Yeah, definitely not. And also source link is working. I think, well, what would be a good example? I think from the program here, I think we can navigate to console. Yeah. So here, source link in this case, like this is actually not decompiled. Yeah, it just takes the source link definition from that NuGet package and serves you the actual source files. All right. So navigation. I think yeah, okay. Let me just mention this again. Navigation with Command T is really great. Like if you wanna use initial letter search again, and like here, for instance, CA is context actions, but it's also in capture constants. Okay, but always, and I just noticed that very recently, if you have a type or want this to be a type, and now you want to search for contained methods, you just hit the dot. Yeah, and now you have the context actions type, and you see all the methods it defines. All right. So we can go there, for instance. Okay, I think that should be it for navigation. With code analysis, I wanna teach you also something that's many things here are not limited exactly to ReSharper for Visual Studio Code, but still something that is quite hidden actually is in program. Like if you have some old utility projects lying around that are console applications, what you can do is place the caret here on the main method and say you want to convert to top level code. Boom. Yeah. Very easy. We got rid of how many? 6 lines of code roughly. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue with. I forgot also to mention something about code analysis. Hold on. Let's just take the following example. Which one should we take? Yeah, just revert. It doesn't actually matter which one I'm showing you. But plenty of times you also just want to ignore a certain issue because in this place it's really meant to be that way for some reason. I don't know about duplicated code, probably not, but just for the sake of demonstrating what I want to tell you. So from here, from this ... menu, you can also disable with the comment the inspection. So for instance, either for the whole file or just for the class, for the method, etc. Yeah, whatever you choose, that should work there. Okay, I think Roslyn analyzers I mentioned, source generators are also supported. So for instance, if you navigate into code that has been generated by Roslyn source generators, you will see those. And I think at some point we will probably also see some additional nodes in the Solution Explorer on the left. Yeah, just like in Writer. I hope I didn't say anything wrong. Oh, yeah, okay, good. Like I said, sweating, yeah, the whole time. I brought some other clothes with me as well. Okay, refactoring. Yeah, like I said at the beginning already, for now we only have the rename for refactoring. So just here as an example, as at least one usage for the method, we can either rename it from here or there, doesn't matter. But you get this little pop-up asking you for a new name, and then we can actually rename that. I haven't prepared anything to show the conflict resolution, so let's just try that. So now this is should this work? No, actually, let me do this just with the class. That's better. So public class, just utils, utils, and let's just try to rename that. Okay, so we get this refactoring conflict, and then you can discard or accept, which probably just lets it conflict. Yeah, exactly. But you can also undo. Yeah, I think that's also a big topic, if I'm not mistaken, to implement this whole undo mechanism. That if you made a refactoring, you want to undo it for all the files, not just in the current file where we are. Right. Editing. Yeah, editing. Like I said at the beginning, one of my favorites. So for instance here, to reorder some code. Yeah, let's do this very quickly. Like this, brought in an order. We can also do this here. Something, I wonder how many people know this already, but if you place your caret at brace, at the closing or opening brace, doesn't matter, you can actually also use something called greedy braces. So I'm moving up and down, and I'm just extending the block for the if statement in this case. Can be any kind of compound statement, so also usings, or if you really need to increase or decrease the scope of the using statement. I think that's quite a good example actually, because sometimes you think, okay, that actually can be can run outside the using scope, or it should be running inside it. Yeah, and of course you can also do this. I mean, this is not a refactoring kind of style of editing, so I can even go here and just switch out those two, yeah, or with the first one, and now I actually get a compile error. But it's a very neat way to just reorder things. Or for instance, on this, a lot of people are actually using cut and paste. But I think that's not a good strategy. Like with this, for instance, you always have to go and first select everything. No, with those shortcuts, you just place your caret and then move them around, yeah, wherever you want. Sure. And now my absolute favorite about editing is expand shrink selection. So I already talked about this or just mentioned this whole thing about selecting things, yeah. And just imagine for this for each statement, you want to extract from here to there. Yeah. Using the mouse, it's quite tedious and very inaccurate to actually, make the exact selection where it has to be. With expand shrink selection, this becomes very, very precise. So just again, I need to remember the shortcuts. Yeah. So now what I'm doing is I'm kind of using the abstract syntax tree to increase or decrease my selection. Okay. So if I'm going forward, then at some point I'm going to select the whole for each statement. Right after, I'm selecting the whole body for the method, then the method, then at some point the whole file, in which case I advise you to use just Command A to select everything. But now here comes a little bummer, let's say. For me, this kind of editing is naturally followed by either two things, either extract method or introduce variable. And neither of the two are unfortunately currently supported. Not yet, at least. Yeah. So I'm giving a strong vote definitely to follow up with one of the two. But yeah, I mean, this is just great. From this moment when you have the proper selection and you say introduce variable, you have it above the for each statement, and this is how I want my code to look like. Because I don't want to, how do you actually debug a for each statement like this? Yeah, you cannot just take the variable and say I want to see what's inside. It doesn't work. Let's follow up with unit testing. Unit testing, like I said, one of the very recent additions. So there should be a place here. Yeah, unit testing. And I have some tests. Let's just take those here. And with some gutter icons, and from here I can run them. I can see the test output as well. So for instance here, some output. And I think there might be a small bug of an additional space. I just noticed that when I kind of prepared those. On the right-hand side, you can also go through all the different unit test elements. So for instance, we have the surrounding class in this case, which is this one, or here it's one of the parameterized tests. Yeah, I think not to forget this. This currently supports any of the major testing frameworks, including MS Test and NUnit and XUnit. TUnit, I believe, is not supported because that's a kind of an upstream thing in ReSharper, I believe. Yeah, I would think so at least. But I know how many folks have tried TUnit already? Yeah, okay, two at least. Yeah, very, very promising project actually. So yeah, we can see the summary and the test output in this little window down here. But also on the left with the test explorer, we have all the elements in a hierarchical structure, and we can search for them. Test 2, for instance, which is weird why it finds test 1. It's in the class. Yeah, that's right. Okay, here it's in the class, and there it's the yeah, and there's the method actually. Yeah, good point. Thanks. So yeah, we can also execute it from here. Good stuff. I hope so. Yeah, let's continue. I don't have a lot more, but two more things: formatting and typing assist. So for formatting, very easy stuff. If I'm having a file of dirty code and you see a lot of things are going wrong here, then I can either have a selection and do the reformat selection thing, or if you want, just execute it on the whole document, and that also works. Plus, I think at least it should also work when we close the braces. Then it will also format the containing scope, basically. So that was easy for formatting. And the last one is not the last one actually. Two more things. The first being, where was it? Okay. Yeah, I don't have a file for that. But typing assist is a new thing that we've been working on. I mean, it exists in ReSharper, but I mean for the VS Code integration. So just suppose you have arcs here and type any. Now I place my caret inside those braces. Man, I was so far. Okay, but let's have the cursor within the parentheses, and now I hit dot, and you see it's just placed behind it, because that's really the only option where you want to place the dot. Yeah, if you want to write a double or something, then usually that should be followed by first a number. But yeah, dot here definitely follows the parentheses. The same goes for semicolon. Yeah, so doesn't matter which method you're invoking. Yeah, it always works the same for those characters. One more thing that was quite interesting to actually see when it was discussed, but naturally, if I hit enter right here, I think then Visual Studio Code would not remove this extra white space. But yeah, with our typing assist, this is properly done. The cursor is placed where it should be, and you can just continue typing. A very similar case is with summaries. So again, without our integration, if you hit the first slash to add XML docs, then the caret would be placed here. Yeah, this is not the place you want it. You want it here, and that's what we are giving you. Yeah, dot slash slash slash. Yeah. Okay. And the last thing, but I think you've seen a couple of those in various places already, are inlay hints. Big fan of those as well. So just a few. I mean, this whole part here does not exist. I mean, it's not in the file. It's just something that we show you, so you don't have to copy this number and go to Google and search for it. And something I cannot, something I need to talk when I was with Stefan recently on a call. I was typing one of those, and what did it give me? I think, what was it? Chinese airline. Yeah. Chinese airline. Chinese airline was not the one I was looking for. Definitely not. Yeah, for CA something something. Yeah, but those inlay hints are in a lot of different places. Like for instance, also here with the debugger. If you have written it like this, you have no idea what does one stand for. Yeah, or the second and third parameter. But with inlay hints, even if you're looking at some legacy code that doesn't have the argument names included, then you just see what is this about. Also here for a chain of link commands, you always kind of see what is the result of this or that projection. And probably last but not least, this one, like if you're having a really, can I duplicate? Yeah, I can also duplicate. If you're having a really large list of inlay data, then because this is actually what you're passing is an array of objects. Yeah, but I would like to see what is the second, to what parameter does it correspond to. Yeah, that's the power of inlay hints. Okay, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's everything I want to show you or have to show you. And sorry again. There's a lot of configuration. It's a whole options page, or probably even several in Writer and ReSharper. I don't recall exactly, but definitely the configuration stuff is not in the VS in the plugin for VS Code yet. Yeah, that's definitely something I also missed to tell you. So right now, what it does is it uses all of your settings that you already have with ReSharper or Writer. Yeah, particularly if they're saved to the same repository. But if you click down here on the nice little ReSharper icon there, you can directly navigate to the settings and see what is currently included. What kind of things can I currently tweak to my liking. I think one of the things to make typing assist work properly, for instance, also to enable this format on type. So yeah, here and there, I think we are also reusing and reusing existing settings from VS Code, and also sometimes overriding existing actions that they have. Yeah, and sometimes we add our own. So yeah, it makes sense. I always feel like a little child in a Play Store when I go to the settings page. In Writer, it becomes too much nowadays. A little, I'll be completely honest. But yeah, those should be checked out as well. Okay, I think I can go back to the couple of slides. Yeah.
Can you also confirm those, like, for example, with the directives, the comments into your file, so that somebody else who doesn't have those tooling can see those comments?
Yeah.
So I can use it as a tool to clarify my code for other developers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That would be the better option, I think, to commit everything into the source file, because then wherever you take a look, you just see what's going on.
Well, not everything. Just for example,
just for those.
The CS directives, the program directives.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have that comment for everybody, not just for me to see. So I insert that warning, and then I would like to have some kind of assist that says, just place a comment beside it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm not sure which of those inspections would trigger that behavior, but if I remember correctly, and maybe someone from my team can help, but if I remember correctly, if an inspection that comes from one of those CA, CS, whatever rules, and you want to ignore that, I think then it generates the textual representation along with it, if I'm not mistaken, but I could also be wrong. And I just don't remember which of those actually provokes that behavior. Disable with comment. Yeah, usually that would show pragma, blah, 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 but I forgot which one provokes one of those CA rules. I don't know. Also not. Yeah, I can check in the meantime. I mean, in the break maybe. But yeah, I'm definitely also a big fan of putting that into the source code. Yeah, just like with like here with the add argument names, for instance, much better. Yeah, definitely. And again, this is another of those cases where you want to have this for the current invocation. Yeah. So for the whole method invocation, you want to add those Argument names. Okay. Yep. Thanks for the question.
Any more questions?
Okay, then I continue with the presentation. Just a couple more slides, then you're good for the next session. So I haven't touched on this topic yet. If you want to be based in other Visual Studio Code kind of forks or derivatives, if you want to call it like that, like cursor, windsurf, all of those. So very recently, ReSharper was also added to this open VSX registry. So you can install the extension there now too. And yeah, two interesting backstories there. So first of all, as far as I understand, there was a technical limitation because any of those extensions cannot be exceeding 256 megabytes, and we were slightly above. And then we had to find some workaround of downloading post install basically. And yeah, that's one of the solutions over there. And also what I heard about Cursor, Vidya was telling this story. So the way how Cursor works and where it's maybe not exactly obvious how ReSharper plays into this situation. But Cursor is generating some code, and what they're doing is asking the extensions if the code looks correct. Now ReSharper as an extension says, actually, I see some issues here and there. And then ReSharper goes, not ReSharper, Cursor goes back, regenerates that stuff, now without the issues or with the issues being fixed. And yeah, but you actually don't see it that ReSharper is involved, but it is actually, yeah. And I think we have just what I mentioned before, this 1,600 plus quick fixes and all that is a very solid foundation, and also taking or integrating Roslyn analyzers as well, just a great foundation for great code. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Would that then also be something that Kudana could hook into? Like in the middle, like if you...
Where hook into where?
Like if Cursor gives you the code, then
Yeah.
Kudana gives you all the warnings and then it fixes that as well for you.
In theory, yes. I think Kudana is also doing something with AI, definitely. So they have chatbot, or not chatbot, but generally a bot that can look at your PRs and stuff like that. Yeah, in theory, yeah, could be done. Okay, and the next slide, and this is really, I said this should not be a lecture, but now I was lecturing for quite a bit, 15 minutes, I'm sorry. But yeah, this is a slide where you can get involved. Like, I would like to know, what do you think would be the next thing that you would like to see inside ReSharper for VS Code? What would help you to adopt it into your current workflow? Whether it's, as I mentioned before, as a complementary / companion app to, work with smaller solutions, make quick fixes and all that stuff, or as a single entry point to your whole development workflow. No need to be shy. Code coverage would be yours. Yeah.
And you can search for things. You can do it in the console, but that's not always it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier when you have the window and just search, I think.
Okay. We could actually do, yeah. Hold on. Microphone.
Does it somehow depends on other C# extensions, like official support of Microsoft? No? I mean, the question is about, are you going to provide some tools from like debugger on your own? I mean, by ReSharper Rider, from ReSharper Rider support, or it's intended to use some Microsoft debugging features or not?
Yeah. Okay. Question understood. So right now, I think if I'm not mistaken, then we informed the user that it would be good if they disable DevKit. But that's just for folks to understand what this extension actually provides. Yeah, because otherwise it becomes really hard, especially in Visual Studio with ReSharper nowadays. Here's the same thing. Yeah, you have just no idea where do those features come from. I think right now we are on par except execution actually. And do they have debugging? I'm not sure. DevKit. Yeah, it does okay, execution and debugging. So if you want to have that right now, then you can have both at the same time installed. Should also not cause any issues, except that some inspections might be reported twice, duplicated. Otherwise, it should not cause issues, and I think at some point we will look into debugging and execution. Most certainly, yeah, I'm rather sure. Yeah, another question.
I would like to see
Or
some
suggestion.
more tooling or annotations in my code, so I can direct the developer on what design decisions and guardrails we have when implementing our software. For example, currently we have a rather large code base, and we're migrating to a different software architecture strategy.
Yeah.
So it's very much not well designed at the moment. So we'd like to guide developers. Okay, we decide to do that this part cannot call into that part. I would like to see some annotations. It's okay, if I have a check, like for example with ReSharper, when a call happens, it's running program, that the developer gets a warning, so we're not supposed to do that.
Sounds a bit like I mean JetBrains has this NuGet package called JetBrains annotations, but I think something like this is not supported. Generally, it sounds like this would be a good use case for a custom analyzer. In which case, I can refer you to this guy up here in the front. He's my go-to for these kinds of questions as well. But yeah, I think maybe some more elaborated description of what you would like to see would be good, but it fits pretty much into the inspections category, if I'm not mistaken.
It could go hand in hand, because as soon as I write a dot or I add a namespace that it's not supposed to, I would love to have ReSharper say,
Have you also tried? I haven't tried it myself, but there is Arch unit or something like that.
Yes, we're using it a bit, but that's like I would like to at the moment. And
yeah,
that's what I like.
I understand.
ReSharper, as soon as I type, I'd like to be
But
warned.
try it as an analyzer. These things I have pretty, my experience with that is a little bit divided. With simple analyzers, giving that to AI to come up with the first implementation is actually pretty good. Might be not the most performant thing, but it does the job generally. With generators, it gets a little bit more tricky to let AI generate something about generators. But with that, I would probably give it a go. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look into that. I've never built it myself, and I think for a lot of common developers, might be a little steep threshold to do that.
Yeah.
So and a little annotation, it's really easily done. And if you have good tooling, it will be, to my opinion, a valuable addition to the tool set.
I can just give you that one good advice. I think it's good advice. You confirm if I'm right. Yeah. Developing analyzers and ReSharpers in Writer is particularly great because you have this little icon to restart, which I think still doesn't work very nicely in Visual Studio because, okay.
So a few hobby hours.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, but back to the question. Maybe I do a bit of voting unless no one else has anything to add. Okay, good. But I will go through, and you just raise your hand if you think this should be really the next thing to implement. Yeah. What about app execution? So running your console application, is that really important for you to try it out or adopt it? Let's say. Oh, okay. More refactorings. Yeah. I hope you're in there with me with, you know, introduce variable, extract method. Okay, I see a lot of nodding. Code coverage. Also a good favorite there. Debugging. Also, yeah. Let's add something else. Debugging tests in particular. Okay, somewhat same. NuGet management. Okay. And perf memory profiling. Okay. Okay. Guys, this is supposed to be a lightweight and you want perf memory profiling. Come on. But yeah, okay, I get it. So what I can share, I think, is that NuGet management is one of the next one on the list that we're looking at, including with some, you know, stability fixes. I think I was, or you guys here did a good job. There was just one notification about an exception. But yeah, I mean, I was typing very fast. Yeah, let's blame me. Okay, but that should be it. On the right, you have the option or opportunity to join a survey. Includes a couple of questions that I was also asking you here today. To kind of motivate you also, there is the chance to win an Amazon voucher for 100 euros, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I take part, definitely. But yeah, with that, I hope you enjoyed it. We would really love you to try it out. Get back with your feedback. Talk to the folks there. Let them know anything that you didn't want to bring up during this presentation. And yeah, thank you, and also have fun with Stefan right afterwards.